Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. Welcome. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a good day. So we are going to be talking about the autonomous zone is no more. So we're going to get into that in a minute. So just bear with me. I just want to remind everybody that if we have Asis already got 2 takes and 11 eggs. That's funny. If we have any issues with the stream, I will get right back on as soon as I possibly can. So please bear with me. And so if there's any interruption, I will be right back on. So just look for that. You may not get a notification. You may have to go to the website, or to, my channel to find it. So, but I will get right back on if we have any interruptions. Okay. So just putting that out there to begin with. So I want to remind everybody this is a very family-friendly oriented channel, number one. So please be kind, please be decent. So no racism, no nastiness. We're not going to tolerate it. It's not happening on my channel. So just be decent, okay? The other thing I want to remind people of is with any questions you have, all cap lock so it stands out for me, all right? So before we jump into this, I want to say to all my Canadian brothers and sisters, happy Canada Day to you guys up there. I know it's a big day for you guys, so happy Canada Day. I hope you guys had a good day up there celebrating, and but keeping your social distance. So anyway, all right, so let's get into our conversation here. The autonomous zone is no more. And all I can say right off the top, thank goodness for that. I am so sick and tired. When you have weak leadership, and so, the president was leaving everything to, the mayors and the governors of whatever states to deal with all the stuff, okay? So that's where I squarely put the blame on the shoulders of the mayor of Seattle for allowing this nonsense to continue on as long as it did already, okay? So thank goodness. And I think part of it was because so here's what I think is funny. As long as it doesn't affect them directly, they don't care, right? But when you have people go to the mayor's house and are protesting and trying to set something up there, well, then that's a whole different story because then it affects them directly. So I think that was a big factor in why they finally decided to, stop things. The governor of the state of Washington could have stopped this at any time as well. I call that just being absolutely weak, okay? Ridiculous that they allowed these people to do what they do. So let's be clear about something. These were not peaceful protesters. Let's get that right off the bat clear, okay? They were in pitched battles with the police. The police abandoned that precinct and they took over that area of the city. Those people did. So this was not a peaceful protest like they tried to make it out like, oh, it's like the flower children of the 60s and all this other nonsense. Absolutely not. This was not what that was at all. It was an armed takeover, pitch battles with the police and people flipping out and stuff like that. So, yeah, so let's be clear about that right away. There's a huge difference between peaceful protest and armed thugs, taking over an area. And of course, so what happens once a group of people take over an area like that are not organized, that really don't have any clue of what they do now that they've taken over an area, then anarchy is going to reign. Now, could there be a possibility that these shootings were done or allowed to happen on purpose so they had an excuse to go in and do this? Absolutely, it could have happened like that, okay? But when you have these type of mindset of people, so we're not even going to talk about the robberies, the rapes, people getting beat up, and all that other kind of stuff that was going on in this area because there was no law and order, okay? Let's remember that right off the bat too, okay? Self-proclaimed leaders, having their demands. I love that when these people do that type of stuff. We demand that you listen to what we have to say. Guess what? The rest of the country don't care what you have to say. You take your demands and go on down the road, okay? So finally, thank goodness again, like I say, the police went in there and cleared those people out. 32 people I heard were arrested. That's the last number that I heard. And they basically, at 5 o'clock in the morning, Mark, says California is closed for 3 weeks. Yes, we'll talk about some of that stuff that's going on as well, Mark. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But isn't New York's mayor cutting the budget in New York? Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to talk about some of this other stuff going on too, but I just really wanted to talk about this in the beginning. Hello, Ednell, the preppers, just joining from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Terrence, how we doing tonight? So anyway, thank goodness, like I said, that they finally got a pair and took care of business, which they should have done right in the very beginning and not let these people do what they were doing. This is America. This is not a little group of hoodlums deciding what's going to happen in an area and then, extorting business owners, destroying property, all this other stuff that was going on. There's a lot of stuff going on that was not talked about. Hey, Troy, thank you very much for that donation. I appreciate that. Thank you. Pennsylvania governor put mandatory mask order in effect for the entire state. Yeah, a lot of states are doing that. I know that they did that in California as well. You had today was record numbers. I believe it was Arizona and California for new cases. Okay. California, somebody just said, just shut down for the next 3 weeks. So they stopped that. I know in New York, they were getting ready to open up phase 3. So, like in New York City for dining in. Now, I like where we are out here in the country, you can now go to a restaurant, but it's, you have to wear your mask when you go inside. If you go up to the cash register, or if you go to the bathroom, you have to have your mask on. Once you sit down at the table, you can take your mask off at that point. And then you can, and people are separated out. They have spots where you're not allowed to sit. So that's what they're doing here. So, but now our case, like I said, our cases in the county that I'm in, I think we've had a grand total of 124 or 28 cases. I don't know the exact number, and 8 deaths total in my county. Now, counties near us, obviously, much higher numbers depending on where you're at. Depends on population density and all that as well. I think that really does make a big difference of how big the numbers, and depending on if it's in a nursing home, you got a lot more issues with nursing homes. So, and again, so it's just, this isn't going away anytime soon. You have a lot of stuff happening, and it's going to continue to happen. So let's talk about these different budgets and stuff like that in the different, New York State, California. They're trying to make up lost revenue. So when you have, I think New York State is working on a deficit right now of almost $1 trillion of lost revenue. I think it was $964 billion. So, I mean, it was a lot, okay? They don't have that revenue coming in. What do? How do you make up for that, okay? So those are things that need to be thought about today as well. Today, South Carolina set a new record for deaths with 1 day and the new number of CV-19 cases as well. Yep, he sent me that information earlier. That's Asif is sending that. So thank you for that update, Asif. I appreciate that. So the South is getting hit harder right now. Their numbers are going up, and it's unfortunate it's happening like that, but it's not a surprise. They opened things up too soon, and when you have large crowds of people all gathering together, what do you think was going to happen? I mean, masks are required in North Carolina. Terrence Parker Jr. just said that. Okay, yeah. So if you're what they do. Okay, so I'll tell you what they've done in New York. Hey, Mountain Girl, supporting an awesome man, father, and prepper, as well as a friend, prepared in peace. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and thank you very much for the donation as well, Mountain Girl. I appreciate that. I hope your move is going good. I know you've been busy, with all the moving and getting things moved from your one place to the other place. And I hope that's going well for you. And, I know that's going to be you're going to be in a great location, much, much safer, which is important too. And as long as your boys can get there, that's awesome. So anyway, yeah, it's just, with everything that's going on, guys, okay, so I listened to a guy today, and he, oh God, I'm trying to think who sent me the information. I can't remember who sent me the information right off the top of my head. I would have to look later, but It was a guy that was a preacher, and he has prophetic dreams, and he was talking about his dreams that he was seeing and stuff like that. And he was saying that like October, November, things are going to get really, really bad. And I can see that coming as well, because then you're getting into the fall flu season. It's going to amp its ugly head back up, and we're going to see where things go from there. Like I said, this thing has not gone away. It's summertime. It's warm. The cases, the numbers are still rising. So what does that tell you? Okay. This thing's going to mutate. It's going to continue on. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be hopefully optimistic. So, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm always going to try to be hopefully optimistic, because you just never know what's going to happen. But again, I think with the election coming up, I think we're going to have a lot of interesting things happening with the election and stuff like that. Lori Nielsen says, I feel for the people that got it and survived, understand long-term effects after the fact. Yeah, for a lot of people there's a lot of, like I said, again, the people that have got it and have recovered, a lot of them are having issues with blood clots and eventually having strokes, permanent heart damage. So they're having issues and then having heart attacks after they've recovered. Also permanent lung damage, diminished lung capacity. So there's a lot of things going on with that as well. And again, it depends on the severity of how bad you get it as well. Like I said, it's just we just need. So anyway, so this priest or preacher, I don't want to call him a priest, because that sounds like he's a Catholic priest, but he was a preacher. He was talking about these visions that he was having, and he even said, I hope I'm wrong, because I guess he'd had visions in December, and everything that he saw in these visions that he talked about with people came true. And so he was talking about the next 6 months and how scary things are going to be. And he was saying what he saw was not good, was not good at all. Again, there is I'm going to tell you what I see coming. Okay, this election is going to be a nightmare, and regardless of who wins, I think the seeds have been sown. I think what you're going to see is your far left and your far right have really pushed the boundaries of stuff. And it would not shock me, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying this would not shock me if we see some kind of civil war. And when I say civil war, I want you to realize what it's going to be, okay? It's not going to be north and south and east and west. It's going to be in every individual state, and it's literally going to be your extreme left people against your extreme right people, and everybody else is going to have to decide what side of the fence you're going to stand on, okay? That's the reality. That's what I see happening, as far as that's a real possibility of something. They have pushed and pushed and pushed this in the media so much. That, and of course, the race card has been thrown out there, and that's been pushed as well. So that could also lead to something like that as well. And then when you have these little agitating groups like BLM, like Antifa, and let's throw in the white supremacist groups as well, okay, because they absolutely also have an agenda as well. So when you have these little groups of people that have their own agenda and are trying to push their own agenda, you can have a lot go bad in a hurry, okay? And again, so what side of the fence do you want to be on? Where do you want to stand in history? Now, I'm going to tell you what, like I said, I am way out in the country, pretty isolated, and that's on purpose. We just don't know. We just don't know. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. If you come and try to do harm to the people that I care about, then you're the enemy, regardless of what side of the fence you're on. That's where I stand. My stand will always be to take care of the people that I care about, the people in my group, and my neighbors. Realistically, that's who I care about. Because if you don't take care of your neighbors, they could become your enemy. So that's something to think about as well. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that situation. Now you throw in an economy that is completely tanked. As things continue with COVID and like California reclosing, what happens next? Okay, how many more businesses are going to go under? Where's it going to lead? What's going to happen? Okay, things are not getting better. They're not getting better. And when the fall comes, I think they're just going to get absolutely worse. Now, you will have the left. Remember Acosta Ortiz or whatever the heck her name is there, the congresswoman from New York, put out that tweet that was immediately taken down, but it was shared a whole lot before then. Hey, Harshman Hills, just dropping a couple of bucks real fast. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and thank you very much for the donation. When she was saying that we got to keep this going until up to the election so he doesn't get reelected. So they have an agenda. They want to keep things going, keep people upset, keep people all fired up so they can try to win the election and put bumbling Joe, whatever you want to call him, in office, okay? Believe me, he would not be the one pulling the strings. I guarantee you like that. He can't even get out of his own way. I mean, the guy's an idiot. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're, a Democrat, whatever, and you're pro-Biden, I mean, the guy continuously puts gaffe after gaffe after gaffe out there. And just before the whole race thing happened here, what did he say? Well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. I mean, could you imagine if Trump had said that? Oh my God, he would have been eviscerated in the press. But because it was Joe, that's okay. So they're trying to keep him to the sideline, keep him out of the spotlight. But I think what you're going to see happen, they're talking about 3 debates. Remember this now, okay? Let's pay attention to those. And I cannot wait for that to happen because he can't help himself. Joe cannot help himself. He will open up his mouth and he will put his foot in it. It's just the way he is, okay? Hey, Marie, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, because Diane says creepy Joe. Yeah, I mean, how many videos do you got to see him, doing bizarre stuff with young ladies and children, okay? Very creepy, very, very creepy stuff. So, yeah, very, not good. Not good at all. But, again, let's see. Scooter Pie says, if Biden wins, he will not be president. His VP will be. Exactly, because he really doesn't have a clue what's going on. He really doesn't. I actually believe he has early onset dementia. And you got to remember, too, the guy's 70, I think he's 76. So let's pay attention to those things, too. No offense against anybody older. Please don't take offense to that. But, like my mom will be 77 this year, all right? She will tell you I'm slipping. I'm not as sharp as I once was. My memory's not as sharp as it once was. So, that's a reality. So, with Biden, and don't get me wrong, does Trump have all kinds of redeeming qualities? Not a whole bunch. He's brass. He's boisterous. He's a braggart. So what? Okay. Again, just like when it was the choice between him and Hillary, the lesser of two evils was him. The same thing goes, in my opinion, and I'm just giving you my opinion, between him and Biden. I don't want Biden in there. I mean, so let's go on Biden a little bit here and the corruption with Biden. About, let's just even look at what happened with his son in the Ukraine. All right, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why did his son get a job on a board for an oil company or an energy company for $1 million a year with no experience in that at all. Geez, you think it might have had something to do with his last name? Come on, and so here's the other thing too. I mean, the video of Biden basically bragging, talking about if that prosecutor wasn't fired, they were going to hold up the money for the Ukraine. And guess what? That prosecutor got fired. Because what was he investigating? The company his son is on the board for. Imagine that. So tell me if that had been reversed and Trump had done that, again, they'd be up there trying to get him out of office again. So it's just, you have to look beyond the BS. And again, I'm not pro-Democrat. I am not pro-Republican. I think they're both corrupt completely and utterly. Washington, D.C. is a festering boil, in my opinion. Hey, Full of Hope, do people know contract tracing is on phones now? I don't know if they know that or not, because I know that they basically have an app that they put into everybody's phone to basically keep an eye on where you've been and what you've been doing. Isn't that fun? So if you have something that you want to do that you don't want people to know about, you better leave your phone home. So Kelly said, Ed, not a shock that the numbers went up. It was the same pattern as the Spanish flu. Exactly. And you got people that are fighting it, that don't want to do it, that their rights and everything else. And there's a lot of issues. Hey, Donna Smith, the mayor of Richmond, Virginia, took down a monument of Stonewall Jackson tonight without the authority to do so. Not good. Lots of people simmering. What's next? And again, so there's another thing. Okay. And thank you very much for the donation, and thank you for that statement. I had heard that had happened. And again, you know what? Stonewall Jackson was a general, a very popular general amongst his men during the Civil War. He was doing his job. That was his job. And here's what a lot of people really don't get. That last class of cadets that came out of West Point, because all these guys came out of West Point, okay? They had to choose a side, north or south. And a lot of them were friends, and now they're enemies because they're at war. So, it's just, but everybody wants to put their own spin on it and say how history is a certain way. And, he was a soldier, and he was a very popular soldier. And, I don't have an issue with statues being put up there or erected for people in history. When you start erasing history, that's where the issues are, always issues with that type of stuff. Guys, what are we at? 928 in the chat, and we're at 280 on the thumbs up. I'm going to ask for a thumbs up real quick, please, to show support for the channel. And if you would do that, I would appreciate that. Again, it really helps with the algorithms with the channel. And it also, I like to see a good number, and it boosts the numbers up too. So if you would throw that thumbs up on there, I would absolutely appreciate that. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to all notifications so you get all the notifications. And thank you for that as well. So, but yeah, Roxy W said Stacey Abrams would be a nightmare for VP. Yeah, if he picks her, you better hope that Trump gets reelected, because she is a nightmare, absolutely a nightmare. Biden is the Dems' Uncle Bernie. That's how I see him. Yeah, it's just, with all the people that we have in the United States, and this is like just with let's go with the last election, okay? All the people that we have in the United States, the two best choices that we had were Hillary Clinton and Trump. Those were our best choices. I mean, if you think about that, it's frightening. It's frightening. And I'm going to tell you what, and I know I'm going to catch crap for this. I really, truly think Trump has tried. Everybody wants to criticize. Every time you turn around, you see nothing but negativity in the news. Think about this, and I want you to really think about this. If Obama had received the same treatment that Trump has received, how would that have gone over in this country? It would have been crazy. People would have lost their minds, okay? I have never seen anybody under constant attack, from the liberal media, from the Democrats, the way he has been, just gone after. Making stuff up, lies, unbelievable. Hey, Pamela X, a word to the wise, history is the best predictor of the future. Yeah, exactly. And if you don't learn from history, thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So, that's what's amazing to me. I mean, we have this whole, just even recent history, what we've seen happen. Why does everything have to be resolved with violence and war? And who suffers the most? Let's think about this a second. Who suffers the most in war? Well, first of all, the soldiers are city kids, country kids. Those are the kids that go to war, not the Ivy League kids, not the elite kids. They don't go to war, or if they go in the National Guard. Okay, that's what happens, or they get a deferment for whatever reason. Okay, they work that magic out there. Okay, it's our kids that go to war. That's the ones that go to war. All right, so they're the first victims, if you will, because they have to fight these wars for the rich. Realistically, big business. That's who they're realistically fighting the wars for. They're not fighting it for the country. They're fighting it for big business so they can make more money and more money and more money. Then who suffers next? When there is a war on we'll go with the city of Rochester. Let's say there's a war going on right now in the city of Rochester. So who suffers there? The poor, the weak, the elderly, children. That's who suffers, because there's not enough food. They can't protect themselves, and it just becomes a nightmare. And then if you have food shortages and everything else on top of it, scary, scary stuff. War is not any kind of, there's no glory in it. There's no honor in it. It's a terrible thing, and the toll it takes on the young men and women that fight it, even if they come home whole physically, they're never whole mentally again. It changes you. It does. Now, I'm going to tell you what. I'm ex-military, as you guys know. I never saw combat. I've never, ever claimed that I saw combat. I did not. And looking back now as an adult and a more mature adult, I'm very grateful for that. At the time when things were going on, like in 91, I tried to re-up in 91 because of the first Gulf War. They basically said at that point, they weren't taking any prior service at that point. And so, and that war was over pretty quickly. So by the time the second thing happened with the Gulf, by that time, my wife was pregnant with the twins, and, I was taking care of her, the twins, and Josh. And she even said to me then, in 2001, she goes, "Don't even think about it." So, but that's, I had other responsibilities by that point in my life. So, but the politicians don't care. Let's see. Terrence Parker Jr. says politicians probably don't even allow their children to get on get those vaccinations. Well, a lot of doctors either spread the vaccinations out or don't allow their children to get the vaccinations because they know they're not healthy for them. They're not some vaccinations are necessary, but again, and I've said this before, I believe the vaccination should be spread out, not given all at once. That's the issue. Hey, L. Gibson, saw a sign that said, "We are really stupid enough to do a second civil war because we are offended by the first one." Exactly. I like that. That's actually pretty funny. And, an amazing thing about that, again, like I said, a second civil war in this country would not be South against the North. That's not it would not be that way at all. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of good old boys down South, I got a lot in common with them. I really, truly do. I'm a country boy. I like being in the country, have the same interest, have the same thoughts, have the same mentality. So, Vetus News Network. Baroness, you changed your name. So hold on one second. I want to make sure I read your thing here. The Baroness here. My channel name has been changed to VERIT Vertalis News Network. Okay, but it's still me, Baroness. Yep. Okay. I've been really sick and have been missing a lot of the live broadcast, but made myself stay up to drop by and say hi. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I thank you. It's a good name change. Thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that, and I hope you're feeling better. Really do. Ghost City Shelton. Democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give it to those who are not. Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. And thank you for the donation. And we got Nikki Johnson. When the Taliban destroyed the Buddhist statues, it was so bad. Isn't the same thing happening here now? City of Ninth Nevis has been destroyed. Thank you very much for the comment. Thank you for the donation as well. And that's part of the problem. Hey, Asif, Biden has had two brain aneurysms, and one almost killed him. I'm worried that he may have been affected by both of them. Okay. Now that I did not know. Thank you for sharing that information. Yeah, brain aneurysm is definitely not any kind of joke, and it probably has affected him. And again, because of his age, it makes a difference as well. It really does. Thank you for the donation as well. Yeah, guys, I'm going to tell you what. A lot of crazy stuff happening. A lot of craziness in the world. And, like I said, when I did the video the other day and I was talking about money in the bank and having tangible goods, having things that you can put your hands on, being as ready as you can be. And even on a small scale, anything you do gives you an advantage and helps you. That's a good thing. Okay, now I do not know how to say your first name, so I'm going to spell it Kokopilua 77. If and when a second civil war occurs, what are the chances the true patriots are going to be the successor? The true patriots of this country, thank you very much for the donation. I think the true patriots of this country will absolutely win because basically, so if there's a civil war, what's it going to look like? Let's be realistically what it would look like. You'd basically be city folks against country folks. And the people in suburbia better figure out what side they're on, okay? And again, so that's how I think it would break down. And people don't realize, all those city folks, where does your food come from? It comes from the country, okay? It comes from those big farms, the greenhouses, all that type of stuff. So that's where all that money comes from, or all that food comes from. So you want to play, like I said, remember I've said this before, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. All we got to do, and I want you to think about this, I'm out in the country. All we got to do is sit back and let you implode on yourselves. We cut you off, we cut off your ways of access out of your cities, and don't let you leave, and it would be horrific in those cities. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, not everybody in the city's bad. I'm not saying that. I don't want you to think that. But a civil war, that's what it's going to look like. Cities would be cut off. People would lock them in so they couldn't leave, and then they would just let them eat themselves. And that's exactly what would end up happening down the long run. Hey, Prepper Chris 1. I'm thinking Chris Owens for the White House 2028. Oh, Candace Owens. Yeah, I like Candace Owens. I think she's a really, really sharp woman. Very, very smart. Very, very smart. Thank you very much for that donation as well. Guys, I see we're up to 1,000 people in the chat, and we're at 455 on the thumbs up. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you again to please do that to show support for the channel. So thank you for that. Also, again, it really helps with the algorithms. So the more interaction, the more thumbs up we get, it really helps with that standing where they put you out there. So thank you for that. And also, again, if you are not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you hit that bell icon as well to get all notifications. All right. And thank you for that ahead of time. So, let's see what we got here. Hey, nose picking. Who do you think is better off, hoarder versus prepper? You know what? It really depends on what the hoarder has. I'm going to tell you what the difference between a hoarder and a prepper is, okay? We had a lady that was a neighbor. She was a hoarder. If you went into her house, it was a trail, okay? It was a trail that you went through her house, and literally this wide, and she had like newspapers and all kinds of crap just stacked up everywhere. That's what a hoarder does. They just hoard everything, okay? The difference between a hoarder and a prepper has a lot of stuff, but they're organized. They know what they have. They know what they need. They have it put away in certain spots, and they're ready, for whatever may come. That's the difference between a hoarder and a prepper. A prepper is ready a hoarder throws nothing away. You're right, JJ. They, like old newspapers, whatever the case may be, they keep everything. Well, I may need this, so they'll keep it. They'll keep broken down junk that is not worth anything. Let's say a broken table. Sorry, I got something in my eye. A broken table, they won't get rid of it. They'll keep it. It doesn't make any sense. You have to periodically go through your stuff and purge. I'm going to give you a great example. This is what I do. So every 6 months, I'll take all of my clothes and I'll put them on the bed, and I'll go through my stuff and I say, okay, there's certain stuff that we like to wear, like summertime. Like right now, I wear muscle shirts. I wear muscle shirts all the time. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll look down through my stuff and I'll say, okay, if I have not worn something in the last 6 months, it's gone. Even if I like it. But I like that shirt. Well, I might like that shirt, but if I haven't put that shirt on in the last 6 months, why am I still having it, right? So that's what I try to do. I try to go with that mindset, okay? So, here comes a young lady. She has to say something to someone.
I don't do that because I'm a hoarder, but... Okay.
Yeah, she's a hoarder, yes.
But I want to say thank you to Full of Hope for the curling stone.
Well, get it so people can see.
I'm sorry we didn't open it on video, but we were in the car and he was like, "Go ahead and open it."
Well, I'll tell you why too. Why she opened it. So that's the curling stone that Full of Hope gave Father. L. Gibson went to the dollar store today. Sign said, "Due to the coin shortage, please use a debit card versus cash." Interesting, I thought. Yes, yeah, I heard that too. That a lot of people are having that there's having issues with change. That's like I told her. Right now, we got a bunch of change. I said I might roll that change up, or I said we're going to sit on it. So, but anyway, I wanted to show you this too. Full of Hope said this, and tell me, guys, if you think that this would make an awesome design for a T-shirt. Okay. Full of Hope sent this as well. It says, "Time to rise. We are Legion." And here's the picture. All right. I think that is absolutely, get him, just take him, push him off the bed.
What do you think I'm doing?
Okay, well, and he doesn't leave. So I think that would be an awesome T-shirt, and with "Time to Rise" on there, and then "We Are Legion." I think that is very, very cool. And so Full of Hope sent that as well. So that's very awesome. So I want to explain why we opened things off camera. All right. If somebody sends something, I have no idea what's being sent. Okay. No idea what's being sent. Everything is always opened off camera in case it's something inappropriate. Okay. Just to be clear. So it's nothing against anybody, but that's why we do that. Okay. So I have not received anything like that yet. Okay. Go ahead, Heather.
Okay. And I hope you have a fantastic family. All very beautiful. Your dog was very nice. I'm glad that you sent the pictures.
Put him right outside. Put him right out. Hold.
I'm talking.
You'll come right back. You'll come right back.
I'm talking.
Okay, hold on a second. I want to answer this question anyway here. Nest Prepper, a prepper stash has a purpose. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. All right. Yeah, we had to get rid of Max. He was being a pain. So, okay, go. The floor is yours, darling. My child, my wonderful sweet pea. Go ahead.
So when I realized the curling stone, I've named her Gertrude, if you're curious. But I'm very happy, thank you. It's really cool.
We'll show that again. So that.
And again, your family is beautiful.
Oh, there she is right there. I'm so glad you like it, Heather. Very nice. Thank you for the donation, Full of Hope. Yep,
I'm glad it made it safe from Ireland. It's cool.
That's very cool, though. Yep, and it's handmade, so I think that's kind of neat. And so.
Kitty fix, pretty please.
Well, we just got rid of one. Here in Alabama, we cannot get alcohol and hand sanitizer all of a sudden. We can. We can, and no limits. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, and I'm going to tell you guys right now. And I said this, if you remember, before the whole thing started with the virus.
Okay, well, thank you again.
Okay. All right, I love you. Goodbye.
Me too. Goodbye. Thank you.
All right. So I said this before. Our window of opportunity to prep and get ready is really, really narrowing, almost shut, if you will. I encourage you all to get everything that you possibly can to help yourselves now. Get out there, get whatever supplies you need, building supplies, screws, nails, tools that you need, rolls of plastic, make sure you have all that plastic and stuff like that. Hey, Troy, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you. Brian Flake says, get your stuff now while everybody is distracted by the world's issues instead of worrying about their own home. Exactly. Very, very good advice. Don't be victims. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing I can encourage you guys all. Don't be victims. Be vigilant. Be smart. Pay attention. Continue to prep. Continue to get ready. Canning jars, canning lids, anything to do with canning. Get those type of things. They're going to be worth their weight in gold. I'm telling you right now. Somebody had asked me in a comment, and I wanted to address this. They said, gold and silver, what are my thoughts? And I've been very, very clear on this. I've never deviated on this, okay? Dimes, quarters, 50-cent piece silver dollars. Get them. Very, very tradable. They will not lose their value. They'll actually increase in value. When the dollar collapses, which I think is inevitable, I think that is an inevitable thing that is going to happen, they're going to retain their value. They're going to be very tradable. as far as an exchange of money goes. I would not get gold. You can get silver ounces too. I mean, if you want to get the silver ounce bars, whatever you want to do, but like having the junk silver, as they call it, your dimes, your quarters, and those type of things, really good to have. Very, very tradable. Gold is too hard to get rid of. I mean, how do you break it down and go, well, I'll give you this much gold for that? It's way too difficult, and it costs way too much. When you're talking $1,700 an ounce for an ounce of gold, as opposed to $18 an ounce for an ounce of silver. Do the math. You can have a lot more silver. You can spread that out a lot more in the long run. It just makes so much more sense. Here's JJ just said, stock up on cloth diapers and washcloths. Absolutely. I have cloth diapers here in my preps. I have no children, but they're a great thing to have because curling is a strategy game. Yes, it is. And Heather is on the curling team for RIT. So she's very, very good. She was last year, she was like the number 2 all the time. So the way that they do it is they usually have the weaker people shoot first and the stronger people finish it up. And the guy, nose picking, don't laugh at my paths. I'm your age and have everything I need. I usually laugh at preppers because I'm a Native American hoarder. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. But thank you very much for the donation. If paths work for you, that's awesome. So, Joe, I mean, the volume's fine. I don't think anybody else is having issues, so it might be on your end, and I apologize if you're having issues. Hayes nose picking. But at this point, I'm starting to worry about the next 2 years. I'm getting a couple of items that may be necessary. My heart goes out to those that just are getting started. Thank you very much for the donation. And yeah, and we'll talk about that one second. Nikki Johnson said, the city of Nai is where Jonah went after the whale. The giant stone statues of Babylon lions, pictures of bulldozers and jackhammers, all gone. Wow. Okay. I had no idea what you were talking about, but thank you for that information. And so that explains it more. So thank you very much for the donation. I do appreciate that. But, people that are just starting out with prepping, again, I would always encourage anybody, even if you're brand new, do everything that you possibly can to help yourself. I think it's really, really important. Let's see. At all the purchasing included by preppers is making Amazon 1% richer and richer. Isn't that what they want? That's actually a good point, follower of Jay. But again, when it comes down to the time and things go to complete crap, and I've said this before, you're going to have what you have. So the more that you can help yourself, the more that you can put yourself in a position to survive whatever's going to happen, it gives you that advantage. Realistically, what are preppers looking for? I mean, let's be realistic. We're looking for that edge. We're looking for an edge. That's what we want. We want to swing the odds in our favor. Like, so Vegas, when you go to Vegas, the odds are in the house favor. They're not in the gambler's favor. They're in the house favor. Otherwise, Vegas wouldn't be what it is. So as preppers, what we're looking for that edge, that advantage. Now, it's very, very easy to give yourself a huge advantage being a prepper. Again, and I've talked about this before, according to FEMA and the Red Cross and all those other organizations, 95% of people, and I will hammer this down forever and ever and ever so people really truly get it. 95% of the people in this country, and we're just going to go with the United States, are not prepared for a 2-week disaster. Some people are never going to get it, guys. Some people are never going to get it. So if you're brand new to prepping and you just have a 2-week supply of food and water, that gives you the edge on 95% of the people. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. Now, if you can continue to do that and make your life better, and if you can get out of the cities and get out into the country and get yourself more sustainable and make things better, absolutely a wonderful thing. Absolutely a wonderful thing. And on top of that, and I always get this one too, well, what if nothing ever happens? Okay, let's look at it from that perspective. So I got away from the city. I got away from suburbia. I've lived in both. Okay, I've lived in the city, inner cities. I've lived there, good and bad sections of the city. I lived in suburbia. Now I'm out in the country again. I was in the country as a child, okay, but not, as an adult, for the most part, I'd been city or suburbia. So now I'm back out into the country. Nothing ever happens. What does it mean for me? It means that I can put together a wonderful place here, paid for as I went along. So I don't owe nobody nothing on it. And I can make myself much more sustainable. If I'm growing my own produce, if I'm raising my own chickens and having my own eggs, if I start, doing goats and I get pigs eventually, meat rabbits, I know how those animals are going to be raised. They're going to be raised in a right way. They're going to be shown a lot of love. They will be dispatched in the same way, okay? So I will know where my food is coming from. That's important to me, okay? Peace of mind is hugely important to me. And being away from the chaos, I'm going to tell you what, just since I got away from suburbia and moved out here, and like I said, June 21st just started our 6-year living full-time off-grid, okay? It is a journey. And here's the thing is, so everybody's concerned, how much time do we have? How quickly is this going to all break down? Again, guys, we have no idea. So we live day to day. We do what we can. I'm going to tell you what my mindset is, okay? Now, I believe that time is short. So I have been going full bore, trying to get things squared away, trying to get things done. But with the thought in the back of my mind is, okay, maybe things won't ever change. And if they don't, what am I doing to make my life better, make my children's life better, make the people around me who I associate with, how do I make their lives better, okay? So that's always in the back of my mind. So I'm thinking long term, but preparing for short term because we just don't know. So when something does happen, and I'm going to tell you what, even as a very, very prepared prepper, I'm going to wake up that day that something happens and I'm going to go, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But the difference is going to be, I've got myself in a position where I go, okay, well now I'm not going to react, I'm going to act. And I know what I need to do. And I know the people that are around me and that I've made alliances with and associations with, okay? And not just up here on the mountain. Like Patty and John come to mind. They have a huge family, and I won't say the town, but they have a huge family over there. And a lot of them all live in the same area. They would congregate together. They would have a good-sized community. They are very, very prepared as well. And so, that would be somebody that longer term in a post-event, that's somebody you can work with, okay? Because you fostered that relationship, and you know that they're prepared. They're not just going to come looking for a freaking handout. Maybe they have something that I didn't think about that I need, or maybe I have something that they might need, and you're going to work together. That's what it's all about. It's really, and again, peace of mind, guys, you have no idea. To be able to go out at night and just, I've done so many videos where I just say, listen, and just listen. You hear the birds, you hear, maybe the frogs in the background or whatever the case may be. It's peaceful. It's quiet. It's relaxing. It's distressing. That's what it's all about. So if nothing ever happens, great. If something happens, we'll deal with it as we deal with it. That's why we prepare. We prepare for every contingency of what is going to happen. And I'm going to tell you what, like right now, I'm going to give you an example of something. Ammo is getting very, very difficult to get. So if you have, again, and I've said this before, if you have any kind of weapons, whatever you have, my rule of thumb to anybody would be minimum of 2,000 rounds per weapon. Minimum. There is no maximum. Just so you know, there is no maximum. Hey, L. Gibson. Well, if nothing ever happens, I can shop out of my supplies for at least 5 years, and man, I will be stocking the money away. Exactly, and you know what? And that's another good thing too. And thank you for saying that. Thank you for the comment. Thank you also for the donation. Here's the other thing with that, and this is something I think is really, really important. Right now, today, is going to be the cheapest you're going to be able to get different supplies. A month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, those prices just continue to rise and rise and rise. So that's what you need to think about too. So the sooner you can get stuff, the sooner you can put stuff away. It's like money in the bank. Once again, having like rice. Rice is a great thing to have. Rice will never go bad if stored properly. Okay, again, just a smart thing to have. You put it away. It's something you can forget about. Okay. Beans, again, you're talking a 30-year shelf life on beans. Okay, they may be harder, they may have to soak them longer, but again, something is compared to nothing. There's the big difference. So even if you're a beginning prepper and you're just starting and you're very anxious and you're very stressed about everything, just do the best you can. Anything that you're doing to help yourself and giving you that advantage, giving you that edge, it's helping yourselves and your families. That is what's most important. It's really important. So let's see. BLM is allowed to protest, but we can't even have the 4th of July parades. Yeah, that's ridiculous too. All this stuff that's going on. And so let's think about this too. All those huge funerals all over the country for that guy, okay, for Floyd. Huge funerals. But if your loved one dies, you can't have a funeral. You can't have people going to that. How does that work? Ridiculous. Vodka is the best hand sanitizer, lower cost than they are selling it today. You know what? Vodka is a great thing to have. Absolutely. You buy the expensive vodka to drink. You buy the cheap vodka to barter or use as a hand sanitizer. That absolutely really stuff. Or cleaning wounds and stuff like that. What if you only have empty 2 bottles to store the rice in? Will the rice go bad in those bottles? Oh, 2-liter bottles. You know what? They should be okay. It's a little more. It's tougher because it's like with the plastic. You don't want that to leach into the rice. That does happen sometimes. If you can get a vacuum sealer and vacuum seal it, and even if you get like a big tote, you vacuum seal it and you put it in that tote. That's but again, realistically, 5-gallon buckets, $3 a piece for food grade buckets at Walmart. Okay, and you don't have to have the lids that I use. I mean, the lids that I use are expensive, but I like them better. That's just my personal preference. But lids you can get for like $1 a piece, I think. So you're talking $4 for a 5-gallon bucket. Put that rice in those bags, or even if you just keep it in the original bag that it came in, okay, put those in those 5-gallon buckets and seal that up. That's actually better than using a 2-liter bottle, to be honest with you. Okay, so, but you don't want it directly just in the bucket. You want to make sure that it's in something else. So that's, the vacuum sealing everything is a smarter way to go. So, yeah, vodka is a barter item big because people are still going to want to drink. I have 200 pounds of rice in 2-liter bottles with a moisture absorber, and it's fine. Okay, well, that's what? Again, personal preference. I would rather not. And now, have I used 2-liter bottles? I sure have. I have some stuff in 2-liter bottles, not a whole lot. Just I did it more as an experiment, and I put that away just to see what would happen with it. So that's why I did that. Hey, nose picking. To any commenters, you may need to split your comment in half. My $400 comment became $15. YouTube is stupid. We aren't. Yeah, exactly. I hear you. Yeah, YouTube is, well, like I said, there's a lot of games being played, a lot of games. But that's what happens. That's part of what you have to deal with. And there's, we just continue to do the best we can. And we have to deal with it. That's, they're the host channel. So, we really don't have much of a say in it. So, just try to be, I don't like to get, well, I mean, I do get political at times, unfortunately, but, it happens. Hey, Merry Christmas. Today you can have forgiveness. Today repent and be baptized in Jesus' names. Acts 2:37-38. This is the only way to heaven. Don't worry, it's coming. Okay, well, thank you very much for that statement, and thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that. All right, guys, what do we got? 1,000 people in the chat. We're at 606 on the thumbs up. If you have not, again, if you haven't given a thumbs up yet, I would ask you to please do that to show support for the channel. And thank you very much for that ahead of time. Also, it really does help with the algorithm. So the more thumbs up we get, the better it is for that. So I would ask you to please do that, and thank you. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, okay? And I want you guys to know something too, okay? And I think, oh, hold on a second. Hey, Beverly Dalton. Joe Biden says if elected in 2020, he will push to ban assault weapons. CNN Politics. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, and thank you for the comment. Thank you very much for the donation as well. He has said that, and that could be another thing that would lead to civil war, because what part again are these people not understanding about shall not be infringed? All these restrictive gun laws and all that type of stuff, all it does is it hurts the law-abiding citizen and makes it easier for the criminals, because the criminals are never, ever, ever going to abide by gun laws. Ever. Never going to happen. So all that does is it hurts the average citizen. And if they really want to go that route, I think that's when they will see a civil war happen, if they try to really enact something like that. So that's, again, just my opinion. I'm not saying that that's the way it'll go down, but it would not shock me. It really would not shock me. So, but, yeah, right. The Dems have done gun running. Yep, exactly. And so think about this. Remember the Fast and the Furious thing that they had with Mexico? And I think it was Obama that did that one, where they were selling guns down to the cartel, and they were supposedly doing some sting or whatever, and then some of those weapons were used to kill Americans. Unbelievable. But yeah, and there you go. Annette Boyle just said criminals will always have guns. Absolutely. I don't care what kind of gun laws you make. If there's a will, there's a way. And the other thing with that, so, and I've said this before too, right now, today, if I wanted anything that I wanted, if I have the money and I go down to Rochester, New York, and I talk to the right people, I can get anything that I want right now, gun-wise. Full automatic, AR-15, AK-47, any kind of handgun that I wanted, anything I wanted to get. As long as I had the money, I can get whatever I want to get. And that's the reality. And that's what people don't realize. And so they keep making these gun laws, and all that does is hamstring the average citizen. Hey, Prepper R.D. Franklin. Hey, the Dems are witches stirring the vat. Yeah, they continue to do that. And again, so let's think about, guys, let's think about this. Why is this pot being stirred right now? Why? What is the reason? We want to take the distractions off of Sleepy Joe, right? Creepy Sleepy Joe, whatever you want to call him. Keep the distraction off of him because he is a moron, and focus on these other things. And we take all these other things, and who do we blame for all these bad things? Well, of course, we blame Trump. It's all done very maliciously, all done on purpose, and all with intent. Hey, Mary, sugar and spices will be great barter items to make food taste better. Yes, absolutely they will. Thank you very much for the donation as well. And I've talked about that many, many times. Spices are really, really important to have in your preps. All kinds of spices. Again, if you can change the taste of food, it's going to make it better. Hey, L. Gibson, the folks that want all the guns gone consider all guns an assault weapon. Yeah, right, assault weapons. Exactly. Yep. Let's see. We got JJ said, thank you very much to L. Gibson for the donation as well. What's my take on the Russian bounties on American soldiers? Trump said, if he find out it's true, he will take action against Russia. If that's true, he would have every right to. But again, we got to remember something.